Welcome back. Well, today we bring you a deeply important segment as we shine a light on a tragic incident that has rocked the town of Okahandja and the nation at large. The rape and brutal murder of a young Ingrid Maasdorp has left many in shock, mourning and as well demanding justice. In the wake of this heartbreaking event, the Children's Parliament of Namibia has taken a bold step in standing up for the rights and protection of children across the country. They're launching a national campaign not only to honor Ingrid's memory, but to amplify the urgent call for safer communities, justice for victims, and stronger action against gender-based violence. Joining us today is Naomi Shakunga, who is the Chief Whip of the Children's Parliament, here to tell us more about the powerful initiative and what it represents for the youth of Namibia. Naomi, good evening and thank you so much for joining us here on the Daily Roundup.
Thank you, ma'am. How are you, ma'am?
I'm good. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great.
Naomi, to start with, can you tell us how the story of Ingrid Maasdorp has affected you and as well as the Children's Parliament?
Excuse me?
Can you hear me clearly, Naomi?
Yes, I can hear you now. Can you please repeat the question?
All right. My question was, perhaps you can tell us how the story of what happened to young Ingrid Maasdorp has affected you as well as the Children's Parliament.
The news of Ingrid Maasdorp's case was tragic indeed, and it was heartbreaking to hear of such a tragic or such circumstances that could happen to a 5-year-old. And it really shook us as a children's parliament, because if the children we are representing are being killed, are being strangled and being dumped under bridges, then I don't know who exactly we are representing. It really shook us, and it really shook us to the core, because these are young children that deserve right, that have the right. And it was really tragic, and it was really sad to hear that such a thing could happen in Namibia.
Well, of course, you're joining us today in conversation, Naomi, to talk to us about the campaign that the Children's Parliament will undertake. So tell us more about this campaign that you've launched in honor of Ingrid Maasdorp and what the main goal is, as well as the initiatives, that will transpire.
The campaign is #Justice for Ingrid, and it says that justice delayed is justice denied, because this incident took place in March. We are now in April, heading to May, and we don't hear of any justice being served. We don't hear of any culprit being caught, and we don't hear of anyone being taken accountable for Ingrid's case, for the murder of Ingrid. And this was tragic indeed, and it's very sad. And then there is when we decided as a children's parliament that we will come up with the #Justice for Ingrid, or rather join the #Justice for Ingrid campaign for the children's parliament, in which we will now aim to raise awareness to the public when it comes to not just rape, not just murder, but violence against children as a whole. Mm-hmm. So that is what we aim to do. And the case for Ingrid has actually been a trigger of such, because we have seen cases like this, okay, and we're like, this is the final straw. We cannot let our children, continue with our children being harmed as such.
Naomi, talk to us about why you think it's, so important for young people, especially those in leadership platforms like the Children's Parliament, to speak up and take action on issues such as this.
We are the leaders of tomorrow. A quote once said, if not us, then who, right? If we aren't going to bring the change that we want to see, then who are we waiting to actually bring that change? That is why if things like this are happening in Namibia, and we have cases like Ingrid being raped, being murdered, then we need to stand up, not only for Ingrid, but for other children as well, because we don't actually know who this could happen to. It could happen to your sister, it could happen to basically anyone, your niece. And then if you don't speak up now, then who's going to speak for you when it happens? God forbid. But cases like this need us as leaders in leadership platforms like this to actually stand up and represent, because the reason why we are leaders is we need to be the voice for the voiceless. We need to actually speak for the ones that cannot speak. And Ingrid, unfortunately, has died, cannot speak, and we need to speak for her.
As you're well aware, Naomi, gender-based violence is a national crisis in this country. So from your perspective as a young leader, what are some of the key things that need to change in communities to protect children, especially girl children?
In terms of gender-based violence has been an ongoing thing, and we cannot keep quiet about it, right? We cannot keep on saying it's an ongoing thing, it's an ongoing thing. So we as a society need to actually stand up against gender-based violence, right? We talk about how we could actually strengthen measures, measures such as the Project Hope. We have Project Hope that goes out to different schools, and now we're calling for Project Hope to actually go to like rural schools and reach the children in there also, so that they know that they are protected. Usually why children don't actually reach out and we have so many cases of gender-based violence is the fear of speaking out, right? There is a lack of protection when it comes to individuals who actually report. So then they don't actually go and report. So initiatives like Project Hope can actually help and kind of like give the sense of protection to individuals that yes, you can be protected. Also, when it comes to individual households, as parents, we need to go back to that type of leadership and upbringing where you actually input morals into your children, because now we need to think that for someone to have the mentality to actually rape a child, it starts in their mindset, it starts at home. So we should rather work at home and then go into schools and then go into leadership platforms like this to kind of like bring down cases of gender-based violence for girls.
Naomi, how can the general public support this campaign and stand in solidarity with Ingrid's family or even other victims of violence?
Generally, what the family needs right now is closure. What it needs is justice. So we are calling on the members of public. If you have any information that could possibly lead to us solving the Ingrid case, please speak out now. And for those that can, we can take initiatives like such as candle lightings. We can take such initiatives like petitions to kind of like push onto the investigations of Ingrid's case. I think there's a lot that we can do, especially for Ingrid's family, to kind of show support and show that no matter what happens, we are here with you as a nation. Because Ingrid wasn't just your daughter, she was a daughter of Namibia as a whole.
What message do you have, Naomi, for children and young people across Namibia who might feel scared or feel unheard when it comes to matters such as this?
My message to them is it genuinely doesn't get better keeping quiet. It might get to a point where there is no going back. While you have the chance, please help yourself, please help your family members, and help the culprit as well to get. Sometimes it's even out of mental health that someone actually goes and commits crimes like this, especially now that mental health is becoming a problem nowadays. So then speak out, because you really never know. We are going to get you the help that you need. And if we, the Children's Parliament, we have so many organizations that stand for you as a child. Please do not keep quiet about violence. Do not keep quiet about abuse. This is your future. You are the future of Namibia. And if things like this are happening to you, then we don't have a future as a country. So please speak out. Please speak out. We have so many initiatives, so many institutions that can help you get help and actually get you the justice that you deserve.
Speaking of justice, you did mention earlier that you weren't satisfied with the rate at which the investigation of the case is going. As you mentioned, this incident happened in March and we're nearing May and still there's been no arrest, etc. So what would justice look like to you and to the Children's Parliament?
Justice would look like the culprit of Ingrid being caught. Justice would look like cases of gender-based violence, cases of rape against children going down. Justice would look like Ingrid's family actually getting closure on the case of their daughter, getting their hearts, even though scars are never going to disappear, at least they will heal. Justice is showing that no matter what happens, cases like Ingrid's are not going to be taken lightly, and we are going to get justice for, and we are going to punish the culprits that are responsible for causing harm to our children. Because let's look at cases, a lot of cases have been going on. Let's look at cases like the Magdalena Stoffels, which happened in 2010, but they still don't have justice. You know, the culprit's still not caught. You go there and they're still saying investigations are ongoing. Justice would look like investigations actually finishing and getting the culprit caught, or at least saying we have reached a dead end. As long as we get closure and we get to see that cases like this are not going to be taken lightly at all.
Naomi, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us this evening here on the Daily Roundup. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
That was a member of Children's Parliament, Naomi Shakunga, speaking to us there on their campaign that they've launched in remembrance and, of course, calling for justice for young Ingrid Maasdorp. We'll be back after this brief break. Stay with us.